Tonight, if your mind keeps pacing the room while your body pleads for rest, breathe with me. Not to force sleep, not to win a battle with thoughts, but to offer your nervous system a simple signal. You are safe now. Feel the cool air touch your nostrils, the warm air leave your lips, like waves arriving and returning to the shore. On each exhale, set down one small weight and unfinished sentence. A worry without a solution, a plan that can wait for morning. Let your shoulders melt, your jaw soften, your eyes grow heavy from kindness. Nothing to analyze, nothing to fix. Just this friendly rhythm, in, out. A quiet lantern guiding you through the dark hallway of the night. Stay close to it. In a few gentle minutes, your thoughts will whisper less, and your breath will be the soft hand that walks you towards sleep. When night gathers and the world finally loosens its grip, there is a quiet doorway that asks nothing of you except your presence, and that doorway is your breath. You do not have to perfect it or count it or shape it into something impressive. Your breath has been faithful since the first moment you arrived. And now, at the end of a long day, it is willing to lead you home. Begin by noticing the simple coolness at the entrance of your nostrils as air comes in, and the gentle warmth as it leaves. Let this tiny temperature change be your lighthouse. As you rest your attention there, allow the shoulders to slide down and away from the ears. Feel the tongue soften in the cradle of the jaw, and give the forehead permission to smooth. In this softening, your body whispers to the nervous system that it is safe to ease off its guard. With each exhale, the branch of your nervous system responsible for rest and digestion steps forward, slowing the heart a little, releasing microtensions that you didn't even realize you were holding. The mind often believes it must solve every puzzle before you can sleep, but the body knows another way. It learns safety by rhythm, by repetition, by the steady return to a familiar anchor. Think of ocean waves against the shore. They do not argue with the rocks. They do not rush to the horizon. They arrive, they pause, they return. Your breath is the same ancient pattern playing out inside you, and when you let your awareness rest on it, the scattered pieces of the day begin to gather. If thoughts push through like busy pedestrians, that is all right. You do not have to build a wall to keep them out. You only need to provide a bench where attention can sit, and the bench is the feeling of breathing. When a thought tugs your sleeve, bow to it and gently sit back down on the bench, again and again, without scolding yourself for having stood up. In this kind discipline, kind that feels like friendliness, you are teaching the mind that it can wander and still be welcomed home, which is one of the deepest conditions for rest. Some nights you may feel an urge to control the breath, to tug it into longer or shorter shapes, but try first to watch it as it is. Let it reveal its own pace. If it is shallow, meet it with kindness. If it is deep, notice the spreading space it creates. Imagine your awareness as warm hands placed lightly over the belly, sensing the upward swell as air arrives and the gentle fall as it leaves. If you like, actually rest a hand there, so the skin and muscle announce each breath with a small wave. On the next exhale, release just a little more, like loosening the lace of a shoe that has been tied too tight all day. As the breath finds its natural curve, it will often lengthen on its own, especially on the out-breath, and this lengthening is like a dimmer switch, lowering the lights of internal vigilance. From a simple biological view, every easy exhale tells the heart it can beat with less force, tells blood vessels they may widen, tells the digestive tract it can resume its maintenance, tells the brain there is no immediate threat to scan for. From a human view, every easy exhale is a small letting go, of a sentence that did not land as you hoped, of a task unfinished that can belong to tomorrow, of an old worry that has worn out its usefulness. You do not need to negotiate with any of it. You only need to let each breath be a carrier pigeon that takes a little weight away. If restlessness appears in the body twitching legs, a shiver across the shoulders, greet it like weather. Let it pass through the room of you while you keep company with the breath. When discouragement arises because sleep has not yet come, notice that discouragement is also a visitor who breathes, and so even that can be included. The door is wide. Your breath does not prefer only calm nights. It belongs equally to tangled ones. There is a quiet dignity in simply remaining here, inhaling, exhaling, staying close, and this dignity builds trust between mind and body. Over time, trust creates predictable pathways. The pillow becomes a signal. The dim light becomes a signal. The steady breath becomes the clearest signal of all. And your whole system recognizes the ritual as an invitation to release. If you find yourself counting, do it softly, like hums rather than numbers, and only as a way to keep a gentle thread through the dark. 1 to 4 on the in-breath, 1 to 6 on the out-breath, if it feels natural. If it doesn't, let the numbers dissolve. Another helpful image is to imagine the breath like a tide washing over a beach at dusk. On the inhale, the water reaches further up the sand, and on the exhale, it retreats, leaving a clean, glistening film behind. Each cycle polishes the shore of your awareness, smoothing out the footprints of the day. Or picture yourself holding a cup of warm tea between your palms, and with every out-breath, that warmth spreads through the chest and down the arms, through the stomach and thighs, all the way to the soles of the feet. Warmth and weight are allies of sleep. As you feel them accumulate, let the mattress cradle you more completely. If the mind insists on planning, give it a safe, simple plan. Breathe in and know you are breathing in. Breathe out and know you are breathing out. That is the entire itinerary for tonight. If the mind begins narrating again, smile internally and say, later, the way you might say it to a child who wants to play at midnight. Return to the soft air moving in and out, and let the story fade on its own. You may notice moments when you are not exactly awake and not yet asleep, like standing in a doorway with a hand on either side of the frame. These are precious moments. Do not chase them or evaluate them. Rest within them as if you were floating on a lake that knows exactly how to hold you. The more you allow the breath to carry you without steering, the more often these thresholds will appear, and the easier it becomes to cross them. Some people fear that if they stop thinking, they will drop important threads. But the truth is, the mind stores what matters and retrieves it when the sun returns. Night is for weaving those stored threads into patterns of healing. Your breath is the loom, steady, repetitive, forgiving of mistakes. If you wake in the middle of the night, you can return to it right where you left off. No explanations required. The practice asks only for gentleness and a willingness to begin again as many times as necessary. There is a quiet heroism in beginning again. As you lie here, notice your back expanding subtly into the bed with each inhale, and feel the ground respond with a soft push of support. Notice the skin around the eyes growing heavier, the corners of the mouth softening, the space behind the sternum widening like a door left ajar to a peaceful room. If memories visit some tender, some sharply at the breath, be a kind host who keeps refilling the glass of water, who listens without fixing, who eventually guides each guest to the door. In this house, your breath is also the hearth. Its warmth is steady, its light is kind, and you can sit by it until sleep taps your shoulder. For now, there is nothing to accomplish. The horizon of tomorrow will hold itself together without you. The most skillful thing you can do is to stay with this inhale as if it were the first, stay with this exhale as if it were the last, and let the body learn what it has always known, that rest comes not from forcing, but from allowing. If a question arises, am I doing it right? Answer it with a breath. If a timeline appears, how long until I sleep? Answer it with a breath. If a sudden spark of energy moves through the limbs, answer it with a breath. Again and again, the same soft answer. Eventually, the room of the mind grows quiet enough to hear quieter sounds, the hum of night, the slow drum of your heart, the whisper of air at the doorway of your nose. This is the hymn of residence, the music of being at home in yourself. When sleep finally arrives, it will not be because you chased it, but because you made a hospitable place for it to land. And if it takes its time, you are still practicing something precious. The art of resting while awake. The art of meeting each breath like an old friend on a familiar path. The art of trusting that your body knows the way to the shore. Tonight, this is enough. Your breath is enough. You are enough. Before you sit or lie down for breath meditation at night, begin by shaping the conditions around you so the body can recognize the direction you're headed. Think of this as guiding a river into a gentle bend. You are not forcing sleep, you are curving toward. Start an hour before bed if you can, lowering the brightness of your world. Dim the lights the way dusk dims a field, so your eyes no longer need to defend themselves against glare. If overhead bulbs feel harsh, switch to a lamp that casts light sideways or downward, and let shadows return to the corners of the room. Close curtains enough to soften street glow, but leave a sliver if the sight of night calms you. Invite quiet, not by eliminating every sound, but by choosing a softer soundtrack. A low fan, a distant rain track, or the faint murmur of leaves through an open window can remind the nervous system of ordinary safety. Keep the air cool enough that your skin welcomes the blanket, and if your feet tend to feel cold, slip on socks so the body will not wake you to negotiate warmth later. Open a window briefly to refresh the air, or simply take a slow walk to the sink and return with a glass of water, noticing the coolness in your palm as a small ritual of arrival. The space itself can be tidy without being perfect. Clear the chair where clothes piled up. Close the closet door. Place stray objects in a basket. Not because you must showcase a spotless room, but because each resolved decision frees a thread of attention that can be braided into rest. Place your phone outside arm's reach, or activate a mode that keeps the world from knocking. If you must set an alarm, do it now so that your mind can stop checking. Let the last light you see belong to a book rather than a screen, if possible. If you enjoy scent, choose one simple note: lavender, cedar, chamomile, or the barely there smell of clean cotton, and let it whisper rather than shout. A single drop on the wrist or the corner of a pillow is enough to mark this time as different. Consider a brief, warm shower or bath that says to your muscles, you have done enough today. When you step out, the slight fall in body temperature can help signal the approach of sleep. Touch can also be a bridge. Glide your hands across your scalp slowly, then draw them down the sides of your face, smoothing the forehead, tracing the line of the jaw, circling the temples with the weight of 2 coins. Release the hinge of the jaw by letting the lips part and the tongue rest like a soft animal in a safe den. Roll the shoulders forward and back a few times, Lift them up toward the ears and let them drop. Imagine a small weight leaving them as they fall. If there is ache in the lower back or hips from the day's sitting, bring your knees to your chest and sway left and right, like a docked boat greeting gentle waves. A few light stretches can do more than ambition. Calf against a wall, hamstrings greeting the air, wrists and fingers circling slowly, neck tilting to each side with patience. When you lie down, choose a posture that allows breath to travel without obstruction. Many find comfort on the back with a pillow under the knees, others on the side with a pillow between the thighs to soften the hips. Let the pillow meet the hollow of your neck rather than forcing your chin down. If you tend to tense the forehead, imagine the skin there melting like ice touched by warm water. If your tongue searches for a place to press, invite it to rest lightly against the roof of the mouth, just behind the teeth, easing the throat. Allow your lips to close without effort, and notice whether air prefers to arrive through the nose. If congestion says otherwise tonight, accept what is and continue. Cover your eyes if stray light lingers. A cloth or soft mask can be a portable night. Before you turn toward breathing practice, visit your thoughts in a way that lets them settle. Keep a small notebook by the bed and empty into it a few loose threads. The errand you must remember, the sentence you want to send, the idea that flashed at dinner. Writing them down is not a project. It is a promise you make to your morning self. Close the notebook and set a pencil across it like a quiet bar. If your heart feels crowded, write 3 lines of gratitude, not as a performance, but as a way of warming the room inside. Thank the glass of water for its clarity, the friend who texted, the tree you walked past. Gratitude is less about erasing hardship and more about reminding the nervous system that the world includes the gentle. Be mindful with what you consume late in the evening. Let the last meal sit a while before bed so your body is not negotiating digestion when it would rather repair. Notice how caffeine affects you and consider shifting it earlier. Notice how late sweets or alcohol change the texture of your night and choose accordingly without harshness. A small non-caffeinated tea can be a companion, not for chemistry alone, but for the ritual of sipping something warm. If your day was full of stimulation, give yourself a bridge. Sit in a chair near the bed and breathe for a minute or two before lying down. Or place a hand over the heart and another over the belly and hum softly on an exhale, feeling the vibrations spill into your hands. Humming, sighing, and yawning are built-in signals that it is safe to let go a little. You can invite them. If you live with others, include them in the boundary of your routine by saying, "I'm going to wind down now." Let the phrase be an invitation to a household atmosphere of kindness, rather than a strict rule. If you share a bed, coordinate the ritual lamp turned off at an agreed time. A final word exchanged that carries no problem solving. If there are children or pets who need tending, tend them with calm rather than speed, noticing that your steadiness is contagious. Set out what morning you will need a glass by the sink, clothes in a small stack, keys in a shallow bowl so you do not have to keep the night awake guarding details. Consider a simple symbol that tells your system, now we turn toward rest. You might fold down the corner of the duvet the same way each night, or touch 2 fingers to your eyebrow and say a brief phrase such as "Here I rest." Or turn a small hourglass and watch a few grains fall before closing your eyes. The brain loves patterns. Offer it one that points toward peace. For some, a weighted blanket is soothing. For others, it is too much. Try and notice the body's answer rather than an advertisement's. If anxiety sometimes joins you in bed, create a plan that belongs outside the bedroom, a chair by the window where, on harder nights, you can sit for a few minutes and breathe before returning. Knowing the refuge exists often keeps you from needing it. If strong emotions move through, give them a safe shape before you lie down. Squeeze a pillow while exhaling. Press your feet into the floor and release. Or whisper, "I will meet you in the morning," to the thought that insists on resolution. Remember that preparation includes permission. You are permitted to leave tasks undone, to release messages until tomorrow, to let the inbox remain a field after sunset. The body learns by example. Show it a pace that matches night. When you finally settle into bed, do nothing fancy at first. Feel the contact points where your weight meets the mattress, the back of the head, the shoulder blades or side ribs, the pelvis, the thighs, the heels. Imagine the mattress rising to meet you, rather than you sinking through it. On one easy exhale, let the eyes grow heavier, not by force, but by allowing the tiny muscles around them to unclench. On the next exhale, let the skin of the chest soften as if a warm light were lowered inside. If the room is not perfectly silent, aim your hearing toward the farthest gentle sound and let it be your horizon. If your mind seeks tasks, give it a friendly one. Notice 10 breaths without changing them. Then allow yourself to stop counting and simply remain. Preparation is not separate from meditation. It is the first soft verse of the same song. You are composing an environment, a sequence, and a posture that tell your whole being, this is a sanctuary. This is where we unwind our grip. The more often you repeat this tune, the quicker your system will begin to hum along, and the practice itself will meet you halfway, like a familiar path that seems shorter each time you walk it. If tonight the path feels long, let it be long without complaint. Keep your rituals simple enough that you can carry them into travel or change. Sturdy enough to survive an imperfect day, gentle enough to welcome you exactly as you are. Now, as you turn toward the breath, all of this preparation stands quietly behind you like a row of small lanterns, making the way clear. Nothing more is required. You have set the stage. The body knows its cue. Breathe and let the night receive you. Begin by giving your body a shape that feels naturally unguarded. A posture that lets breath travel without obstruction and invites each muscle to set down its tools. If lying on your back, let your feet fall outward like book covers half open. Place a small pillow beneath your knees to soften the lower back, and nestle your head so the back of the neck is long and the chin neither tilts up nor tucks too far down. If lying on your side, choose the one that feels friendly tonight. Slide a pillow between your knees to level the hips. Draw the lower shoulder slightly forward so it does not bear the whole weight, and let the upper arm rest on a pillow or blanket so the chest can spread quietly. If you prefer a slight curl, allow it to be a loose comma rather than a tight fist, leaving space across the belly for breath to bloom. Once settled, close the eyes or lower the gaze behind the lids and meet the ground's support with trust, as if the bed were a small raft that knows the current better than you do. Now begin a slow tour of the body, a simple ceremony of attention that invites each region to soften. Bring awareness to the toes, not by staring hard at them, but as if you were turning toward dear friends in a quiet room. On an easy exhale, imagine the tendons in the toes unraveling like tiny threads. Notice whether any toe is gripping the night and let it unhook. Let the soles widen, the arches release their vigilant lift, the heels grow heavier where they meet the mattress. Feel the ankles float like loose door hinges. If there is heat or buzz there, imagine it draining through the heels into the bed, not away from you, but into the earth's safekeeping. Move up into the calves and shins, noticing the front bones like smooth river stones and the back muscles like soft cords. With the next out-breath, let the calves melt, as if warmed by afternoon sun that has nothing else to do. If a twitch arrives, treat it like a yawn in muscle language, an old signal of loosening. Travel to the knees, those faithful hinges. Picture them as two round bowls half full of calm water, any leftover grit settling to the bottom until the surface goes quiet. Continue into the thighs, heavy and strong, and allow them to broaden sideways into the bed. Often the thighs grip as if they must hold you up even in sleep. Say to them inwardly, "You can rest now, the floor is doing the holding." Let the hamstrings lengthen by imagination alone, and let the quadriceps smooth downward like a curtain drawing closed. Arrive at the hips and pelvis, a crossroads where much of the day's tension parks. On the next exhale, invite the sit bones to widen apart, a barely perceptible release that signals the pelvic floor it can soften from a vigilant hammock into a restful cradle. If privacy allows, sigh quietly through the mouth and notice how the area deep in the bowl of the pelvis responds to that sigh. How even organs seem to exhale. Imagine the entire pelvis as a heavy bowl that sets down onto the mattress and is received fully. Allow awareness to spread through the lower back. See if you can feel the spaces between the lumbar vertebrae opening like pages, each page turning more slowly than the last. If you sense an urge to arch or tuck, make a tiny adjustment until the lower back feels like it is floating in warm water, supported, buoyant, not pressed. Travel to the belly without asking it to be flat or clever. Let it be a soft tide. Place one hand there if you like and feel the gentle rise on the inhale, the sweet fall on the exhale, as if a small boat were lifting and lowering on a lake that never storms at night. Let the breath massage all the organs without you managing them. The body knows this choreography. If a knot of worry sits under the ribs, picture it as a ball of yarn that unspools a little with every out-breath, a thread laying itself down gently along the shore of you. Bring attention to the sides of the waist and the flanks, where breath often forgets to visit. Inhale as if you had gills there. Exhale as if those gills were smoothing flat. Now the rib cage, a woven basket that can widen and narrow without effort. As you breathe in, imagine the ribs sliding apart like hands opening. As you breathe out, feel them draw back together like hands resting palms to palms. Behind them, the mid-back, often overlooked. Let your awareness spread like warm oil across those long muscles that hold you upright by day. Invite them to drape over the bones, to trust gravity's kind instruction. Travel into the chest and the heart's neighborhood. Without reaching for meaning, sense warmth here, or the absence of it, and make room for both. If emotion rises, allow it to be a flavor in the air you are breathing rather than a storm to be weathered. Sometimes placing the second hand over the heart is a bridge for the mind. Two hands listening to the two main rhythms of your life beat and breath. Let them sink without forcing. A few moments of simple companionship can be enough. Move to the shoulders, the great coat hooks of responsibility. With your next exhale, imagine the shoulder blades sliding down your back as if they were two smooth stones settling at the bottom of a clear pool. Sense the collarbones like delicate wings, widening horizontally with each inhale and then resting broader than before. Let the weight of the upper arms be fully carried by the bed. Sometimes the arm still believes it must hover. Assure it there is nowhere to reach. Feel the elbows as quiet hinges, the forearms heavy and warm, the wrists unfastening their cautious hold. Soften the palms, open the fingers just enough that air can pass between them, and sense the subtle hum that remains when hands stop doing. Hands remember the day. They may unfurl its story even as you rest. Let them lay the story down. Bring awareness up into the neck and throat, the channel of words and swallowing and unspoken things. On an easy exhale, imagine the front of the throat widening, the sides relaxing, the back of the neck lengthening into the pillow. If you tend to clench, let the teeth part by a grain's width, and let the tongue rest like a friendly animal on the floor of the mouth, the tip of it touching the ridge just behind the upper teeth, loose and unambitious. Soften the jaw hinges. Picture them as tiny gates opening. Travel into the face, smoothing across the cheeks as if your awareness were warm light. Soften the skin around the eyes, which works invisibly all day. Let it drape without effort, like silk released from a hook. Imagine the eyeballs resting deeper in their sockets, more spherical, supported by darkness. Let the muscles of the forehead broaden. Release any small frown that thinks it is keeping you safe. If thoughts flash like light on water, let the forehead be the lake that does not hold the reflections. Finally, the scalp, where even hair follicles seem to listen. Imagine a soft breeze passing over the crown of your head and down through the skull, as if the top of the head were vented and excess heat could leave like steam from a cup. Now sense your whole body as one piece, lying here with weight and warmth, buoyed by breath. Notice how the body has become wider and longer simply by not gripping itself. Let breath sweep from crown to soles on the inhale, and from soles to crown on the exhale, a slow tide moving through an open channel. If any region calls for attention, a knee humming, a shoulder whispering, place your awareness there for a few breaths, as if setting a small lantern beside it. Then rejoin the whole. You can also layer a gentle rhythm. Inhale to a quiet count of 4. Exhale to a soft count of 6. Only if it feels like a cradle and not a harness. Let pauses appear of their own accord at the top and bottom of the breath. Brief landings where the body says, yes, this is enough. If you need to adjust posture, do it with the calm economy of turning a page. There is no rule against movement. In fact, the body sleeps more easily when it trusts you will listen. Some nights, as you scan, you might meet old tensions that seem stitched into the fabric. Do not pick at them. Bathe them in patience. Imagine each exhale as warm water soaking a knot, making it more pliable without requiring it to disappear right now. Remember, this practice is not a test. It is a homecoming. As your attention grows more diffuse, let the body scan soften into a general glow of presence, like the hush that settles after a lullaby. Perhaps you will drift before you reach the crown, or perhaps you will arrive at the crown and begin again at the toes, a second lap that needs fewer words. If wakefulness lingers, rest anyway. You are already bathing the nervous system in safety signals: low light, quiet posture, slow breath, kind attention, and these signals accumulate like dew until sleep finds you glistening and ready. Trust that even without perfect silence or perfect stillness, the body knows how to cross the threshold when conditions are kind. Tonight, your posture is the shape of permission, and your careful tour is the language of release. Stay with the feeling of being well held. Let the bed do its simple, profound job while you do yours, noticing and letting go, breath by gentle breath. until the whole field of the body lies open and the night can settle over it like a soft, protective sky. Place one hand on your belly and let it be the quiet metronome of the night, a warm reminder that breath is happening even when thought forgets. Feel the soft fabric under your palm, the slight give of the abdomen as air arrives, the gentle retreat as it leaves. Do not try to make anything dramatic occur. Let the hand receive, not command. If the belly barely lifts at first, that is fine. Imagine your hand as a kind weight inviting breath downward, as if you were encouraging a shy guest to sit closer to the fire. With each inhale, feel a small rising under the hand, and with each exhale, feel a falling, like the tide drawing back from shore. This is the simplest way to synchronize body and breath. You are allowing touch to anchor awareness, and awareness to shape breath without force. If you like, place the other hand over the center of your chest, so you can sense two regions at once. Notice how the upper hand may rise a little and the lower hand a little more. Just enough to show you that the breath spreads in 3 dimensions: forward into your palms, sideways into your flanks, and backward into the bed. Let the lower hand lead. On the inhale, invite the belly to flower first, then the ribs to widen slightly, then the upper chest to sip the last portion of air as if tasting a ripe fruit. On the exhale, let the upper chest soften first, then the ribs knit, then the belly ease back toward the spine. This gentle wave from bottom to top and top to bottom is enough to tell your whole system that you are safe to unwind. If numbers help, breathe in softly to a count of 4 as the belly greets your hand. Then breathe out to a count of 6 as the belly leaves your hand, but only if counting feels like humming. If it feels like rules, let it go. The longer, slower out-breath is not a contest, but a lullaby you sing to the body. You might hear a small sigh slip out. Let it. Sighs, yawns, and hums are old animal signals that the guard may rest. If the belly feels tense, imagine it as a lake thawing in spring. On each exhale, the ice thins. On each inhale, water moves easily beneath your palm. Or picture a small paper boat under your hand, lifting and settling on calm water, carrying nothing urgent, simply bobbing. If your mind interrupts with a list, answer once, hand to belly, I am here. If it interrupts again, answer again, I am here. You are not arguing with thoughts. You are choosing a companion more trustworthy than worry. Notice how the bed supports your back body like a gentle hand larger than both of yours. As you inhale, feel the back ribs widen into that support. As you exhale, sense the back ribs settling more completely. Synchronizing breath with body is not only about the front. It is a full circle hello. Trace with your awareness the path air seems to take, the cool entrance at the nostrils, the soft passage behind the throat, the widening in the chest, the tender rise under your belly hand. If the throat tightens, imagine it smiling, a small inner curve that lets air slip through like water under a bridge. Let the jaw relax and the tongue lie wide, which gives the breath a clearer corridor. If you are on your side, stack your hands on the lower belly or place one between the ribs and hip, letting the side body feel the rise and fall. This sideways breath can feel like opening a window along the length of your torso, letting fresh air into rooms that stayed closed all day. You may discover that your hand grows warmer as minutes pass. Let that warmth seep inward, softening tissue as warmth does wax. Breathe so quietly that your hand could sleep on your belly without waking. When attention wanders and, it will let the next contact of palm and movement pull you back, a gentle tug of a thread sewn through 2 pieces of cloth. If you tense to make the belly move more, release that plan and return to curiosity. How does a breath feel when it is allowed? You can experiment with a micro pause at the end of your exhale. Not a held breath, but a tiny rest, like a swing passing through the lowest point where gravity and momentum balance for a heartbeat. In that rest, notice the quiet between urges. Then let the next inhale come by itself, as naturally as a flower opening at dawn. You can also let a soft sound ride the exhale, a whispered with lips closed or a gentle ha with lips parted, just enough to feel vibration under your palm. Vibration is a bridge between mind and body. It makes the invisible breath tactile. If a wave of feeling, resideness, or relief or fatigue lit, your hands say yes to it by staying. Stay is a tender word. It keeps the breath company without analysis. If a memory arrives, let it pass through the rhythm you are building. In as the belly rises, out as the belly falls, and the memory continues on its way. Keep the exhale kind. Pulling it long with ambition can backfire. Instead, think of pouring tea slowly so it does not splash. If the inhale wants to shorten in response, allow it. Over time, the exhale will lengthen itself like a shadow in evening light. Notice how the pelvis responds when you breathe lower, a subtle widening across the sit bones, a dissolving of hidden effort in the lower abdomen, a sense that organs are being rocked in a hammock. Let the hammock hang a little deeper with each out-breath. If your lower back has been guarding, feel how the belly's movement massages it from within. You are not trying to perform diaphragmatic breathing correctly. You are simply letting the diaphragm resume its quiet leadership, a dome that descends and rises like a calm bell. If the breath catches high in the chest, place your lower hand a bit heavier for a moment, then lighten again, as if you were guiding a kite from a gust back into a steady breeze. If the nose is stuffy tonight, breathe through the mouth with softness, lips barely open, tongue still wide. Let the breath glide along the palate and down, and keep following the belly motion with your hand. Nothing has to be perfect for it to be good. Try a gentle rhythm cycle. 4-5 breaths, in for 4, out for 6. Then for 5 breaths, rest from counting and simply feel hand and belly. Repeat this alternation if it supports you. If numbers distract, drop them entirely and think in images. Inhale like moonlight filling a bowl. Exhale like moonlight spilling quietly over the rim. If the heart beats strong, do not fear it. Place attention on the upper hand and feel heartbeat and breath wave in the same room, gradually finding a polite conversation. Sometimes they will sink for a moment, that is enough. If anxiety presses into the belly as a stone, imagine your hand warming the stone until it softens at the edges, then grows smaller with each exhale. You are not casting anything out. You are letting it rest. As the minutes pass, you may notice a spreading heaviness, the friendly weight that helps the body surrender to gravity. Let your limbs participate with every exhale. Allow the thighs to settle more broadly, the shoulders to empty a little more, the fingers to uncurl. Your hand on your belly will feel the amplitude reduce as breath grows quieter. This is natural. Do not chase big movements. Trust the shrinking wave as a sign that your system is taking the invitation. If sleep does not arrive quickly, you are still weaving the fabric that will hold it. Keep your ritual gentle. If you wake in the night, return your hand to the belly as if picking up a bookmark. 1 or 2 cycles of breath can reintroduce the story of safety. If heat builds in the mind to many thoughts, cool it with the feel of air at the nostrils for 3 breaths. Then return to the belly for 7. This swinging attention between nose and belly can recenter you like walking a familiar corridor between 2 rooms. And if emotion needs outward expression, exhale with a soft whisper of a word that comforts you safe home, here timed with the falling of the belly. Let that word ride the stream out and fade before the next inhale rises on its own. Above all, keep the attitude friendly. You are teaching your body and mind a duet, not drilling them for a performance. Even if the tune wobbles, the warmth of your hand is the constant the body recognizes. This is the essence of synchronization. Touch meets breath, breath meets body, body meets rest. Stay as long as it feels good, and when your hand grows too relaxed, to notice each rise and fall. Trust that it has already passed the torch inward. The breath will keep singing, and the body will keep listening, until sleep leans in and carries you the rest of the way. Counting the breath is not about winning a number game. It is a way of giving the mind something simple and kind to do while the body learns the language of rest. And lengthening the exhale is like dimming a lamp until the room becomes naturally quiet. So begin by letting your breathing be exactly as it is for a minute, feeling the gentle cool at the nostrils on the way in and the faint warmth on the way out. Letting the shoulders drop and the jaw loosen so the throat is spacious and unhurried. Then introduce a soft rhythm that feels like a lullaby rather than a rule. Perhaps inhaling to a silent count of 4 and exhaling to a silent count of 6. Keeping the count like you would keep the beat of a slow song, relaxed, forgiving, ready to skip a number if a wave of sleep pulls you towards silence. Because the purpose is safety, not precision. Let the numbers be round pebbles you move from one pocket to another. 1 pebble on the inhale, 1.5 on the exhale. You do not need exact fractions, only the felt sense that the outgoing breath is longer and more spacious than the incoming one. And as you extend the exhale by a heartbeat or 2, imagine you are pouring warm tea and do not want it to splash, which means you tilt the kettle slowly and steadily and stop before the cup spills. Then allow the inhale to arrive by itself, like the next small wave that returns to the shore after the previous one has slipped away. If you like, rest a hand on your belly to keep company with the count, feeling the soft rise for 4 and the soft fall for 6. And if 6 feels too long tonight, use 5. If it feels not quite enough, try 7. Because bodies are weather and good sailors trim their sails to the wind rather than arguing with it. And on another night you may find that 4 and 8 is friendly, while on a busy night 3 and 5 is all the system wants. And this flexibility builds trust, which is the secret door to sleep. And as you continue, let your counting voice be warm and low inside your mind. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause that is more like a sigh than a stop. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so the mind is occupied but not recruited into arithmetic. And if thoughts try to interject, weave them into the count as passing background, or let them ride the exhale out to the edge of the bed while you stay with the next inhale. You can soften the mechanics even further by pairing the count with a simple image. Perhaps on the inhale, you watch a small paper lantern glow a little brighter, and on the exhale, you watch its light dim as the lantern drifts downstream, longer and longer until the water takes it around a bend. Or perhaps the inhale is the tide stretching up the beach, and the exhale is the tide reclining with a longer sigh, leaving the sand smooth and glistening. And in this way, the numbers become the frame, and the image the painting, and both are gentle enough to let sleep enter the room without noticing a guard at the door. You may find that the body occasionally wants to pause naturally at the bottom of the breath, Do not force it. Let it be a moment where the swing passes through the lowest point. Weightless, quiet, a heartbeat's worth of stillness that tastes like yes. And then the next inhale comes of its own accord, and as these micro-pauses appear, you will likely feel the mind soften the edges of your day. Because long exhalations are the nervous system's way of telling the heart to beat with less urgency and the muscles to release their habitual grip. And this is why the count matters less than the tone. For a stern 6 can make the throat tight, while a kind 5 can feel like a door opening. And if you notice any strain, shorten the exhale again until it becomes as easy as a yawn just beginning. And if dizziness arises, drop all numbers and breathe naturally with your attention at the belly until steadiness returns. Then resume only if you wish, remembering that the point is not endurance but invitation. You might enjoy layering a second rhythm after a few minutes, counting the entire cycle as one. So inhale for exhale 6 becomes 1, inhale 4, exhale 6 becomes 2, and you gently walk your way toward 10 cycles, and when you arrive, you stop counting entirely and let the breath continue on its own, as if the training wheels have lifted while you keep gliding. And if sleep has not come yet, you can begin again from 1 unhurried, or switch to a simpler pattern like in 4/4. Out for whatever length feels like a velvet ribbon slipping through your fingers, and let the mind hear the whisper of numbers less and the texture of the breath more. Sometimes pairing a word with the count helps. So on the inhale, think calm, and on the exhale, think release. Or inhale here, exhale now, or inhale safe, exhale home. Letting the word ride the longer exhale like a leaf on water, lengthened by the current. And this word gives the mind something kind to repeat while the numbers quietly step back. Or you may prefer a subtle hum, lips closed on the exhale for half the count. Feeling vibration soften the throat and chest and belly. Vibration being the tactile bridge that invites deeper letting go. If emotion rises during the count, offer it the longer exhale, as if you were setting a heavy bag down across 2 slow breaths instead of dropping it with a thud. And if a sharp thought insists on being solved, agree to meet it in the morning and place it at the far edge of your 6 count, so it drifts just out of reach by the time the inhale begins on its own. And if your attention leaps away and you lose track of numbers, treat that loss of track as a friendly sign that the practice is working, because losing the thread is what minds do on their way to rest. And simply begin again from 1 without scolding yourself. To help the body trust this night language, let your face soften on each exhale as if fog were settling over a field. Let the shoulders sink by a grain. Let the hands open the smallest fraction. And notice how the longer out-breath seems to widen the boundaries of your body until the mattress feels like part of you, and the room's quiet becomes your quiet. And with time, the ratio may stretch by itself. 5-7, 5-8, 4-7. But never chase an impressive number, for chasing wakes the hunter in the mind, and we want only the shepherd, the one who guides with presence. And if at any point you feel a catch at the top of the inhale, shorten it. Allow it to be modest. Let the comfort of a small breath be enough, because in the mathematics of rest, a modest inhale followed by a generous exhale equals relief. Some people like to imagine they are breathing out through the soles of the feet to make the exhale longer without strain, as if tension were grains of sand leafing through the heels and dispersing on a dark beach. Others prefer to imagine the exhale as steam escaping from a cup, vanishing without residue. And if you wake in the middle of the night, return to a shorter version, 3 and 5 out for 10 cycles, then stop counting and feel the quiet left behind. And if wakefulness continues, begin again, gentle as turning a pillow to the cool side. And know that every minute of soft counting and lengthened exhale is rest, even before sleep arrives. As your breathing grows quieter, your count will sometimes fade like a radio turning down. And that is your cue to let the numbers go entirely and float on the felt rhythm alone, trusting that the body recognizes the path back even in the dark. And at the very end, if sleep is slow to come, you can whisper one last widening of the exhale by adding a tiny pursing of the lips, as if you were blowing across a spoon of tea to cool it, not to push air out, but to slow it lightly, and then release even that. And in this way, the practice remains honest and humane, a gentle count to occupy the mind, a longer exhale to soothe the nerves, a willingness to begin again without criticism, and the deep understanding that you are not forcing sleep but preparing a soft landing where it can arrive when it is ready. And until it arrives, you are already doing the most restful thing possible, keeping company with your breath in a rhythm that says to every part of you, you are safe, you are held, you can let go now. When thoughts accelerate, as if the mind has found a downhill road and forgotten the brakes, begin not by chasing them, nor by ordering them to stop, but by recognizing that racing is a form of protection attempting to keep you safe. Say inwardly, thank you, I see you, and then offer the system a calmer job to do, which is to feel breathing in real time. Let the inhale be the event you are watching. Let the exhale be the event you are watching, and treat each thought like a passerby on a sidewalk you do not need to follow. If a thought is sticky, give it a small label so the brain knows you have acknowledged it, remembering, worrying, rehearsing, solving, and then return to the touch of air at the nostrils or the rise of the belly, because the naming satisfies the part of you that wants to categorize, while the returning satisfies the part that longs to rest. When emotion surges, fear like a cold wind under the ribs, sadness like a weight in the throat, irritation like heat behind the eyes, meet it as sensation first and story second. Ask where in the body it lives tonight, how wide it feels, how warm or cool, whether it is pulsing or still. Then breathe directly to that region with a kind exhale, as if you were widening a tight doorway around it. And notice how sensations shift when given room. You are not trying to extinguish them, you are allowing them to complete their wave, because nervous systems are built to resolve what they can feel safely. If the mind argues that something must be solved now, offer a simple container, the morning list whisper, I will meet you at 9 o'clock with coffee, and imagine placing the topic into a small box on a shelf outside the bedroom, not to deny it, but to reschedule it. If the thought refuses, let it talk while you bathe the body in the rhythm of breath, as if you are a steady drum quietly accompanying a soloist who eventually grows tired. Remember that attention is a choice you can make softly and repeatedly, not a battle you must win. You can practice the three-step loop of notice, name, nurture. Notice that mind is sprinting. Name it with gentleness. Nurture the body with one longer exhale and a loosening of the jaw. Do this loop without fanfare as many times as the night asks. Consider giving your thoughts a river to float on by imagining them as leaves, each leaf carrying a sentence fragment that drifts across the surface at the pace of your exhale. If a leaf catches on a rock, your next breath is the current that frees it. Or picture a train coming through. Each carriage is a thought. You are standing on the platform with a warm scarf and no urgency to board. When the engine of anxiety blows its horn, wave and let it pass. If you find yourself unintentionally aboard, step off at the next breath. When emotion is heavy, recruit the body as an ally. Soften your hands and let the fingers uncurl, because clenched hands whisper emergency to the brain, while open hands whisper permission. Relax the space between the back teeth. Let the tongue widen and feel how the throat becomes a friendlier corridor. Slide the shoulder blades down and let gravity reclaim the small muscles that have been holding you up all day. These physical messages travel faster than ideas and can quiet the gusts of mind weather. If guilt or self-criticism appears, "Why can't I sleep? What is wrong with me?" answer, as you would answer a dear friend in the same situation. You are not broken. Your body is protecting you with extra vigilance. We can teach it to rest, and then demonstrate that teaching by lengthening the exhale by 2 counts and laying a hand on your belly. For looping thoughts, try the container of a gentle mantra paired with breath. Something like, on the inhale, "I am here." On the exhale, "I allow." The words dissolving into sensation after a few minutes so that only the feeling remains. Or pair breath with a compassionate phrase directed toward the part of you that is afraid. Inhale, "May I be safe." Exhale, "May I rest." If images intrude scenes from the day, future rehearsals, let them turn to black and white sketches and then to faint pencil lines, less saturated with each exhale. You can also invite an image that eases the nervous system, lying in a small boat at dusk. Stars just arriving, the water barely holding a ripple. Each breath is a slow push of water against the hull. The mind sees the rhythm and settles into it. When an argument starts inside, 2 voices debating the referee is your attention to touch. The sheet against your skin, the weight of the blanket, the steady contact of heel to mattress. Name 3 sensations in order, then 3 sounds in order, then return to breath. A gentle 3-3-3 sequence that roots you in the present. If worry insists on worst-case stories, offer it a best friend story. Of all the nights you have ever lived, most ended with sleep eventually arriving. Sometimes late, sometimes early, and the next day still unfolded. Remember, this is not a courtroom, it is a bedroom, and evidence of safety is allowed to count. Sometimes anxiety is a captured energy that needs a tiny movement to discharge. So roll the ankles slowly twice, squeeze and release the toes. Press the tongue gently to the ridge behind the teeth for a breath and then let it drop. Or use the 5% rule, softly tighten any area by 5% on the inhale and release it completely on the exhale, telling the body it can downshift. If grief visits, let the exhale be the place where the grief can set down its heavy bag. You may feel moisture at the eyes or a hollowness behind the breastbone. Include these in the breath's cradle without commentary. Sleep is not a test of cheerfulness. It is a place where truth can rest. If anger glows, do not fan it with arguments. Instead, breathe as if through a wide straw, gentle and even, and let the heat disperse along the exhale. Anger often masks hurt or fear. If either reveals itself, offer the same breath and the same kindness. When you cannot find the breath because the mind is too loud, touch the breath with sound. Hum softly on the exhale or whisper the letter V or M, feeling the vibration in lips and cheekbones. Vibration is a rope you can hold even in the dark. If the mind keeps sprinting, insert a compassionate boundary. For the next 5 minutes, I will only feel breath and body. Then I will reevaluate. Set an imaginary timer that rings with a sigh instead of a bell. During those minutes, treat every returning thought as a guest who receives a nod and no seat. After the 5 minutes, you will often find the storm has thinned. If not, repeat, because repetition is not failure, it is practice. On nights when the mind gallops toward a cliff of what-ifs, anchor by naming what is. This pillow, this room, this inhale, this exhale. List 5 concrete things you are not doing right. Now you are not driving, not emailing, not deciding, not performing, not arguing, and let the simplicity soothe the nervous system. If you wake with a spike of adrenaline, do not interrogate it. Ride 3 slow breaths with longer exhales and a soft hand on the belly. Adrenaline burns quick when not fed by thought. Give it space and it will pass like weather. Remember also the kindness of perspective. The human mind is built to problem solve and anticipate threats. A brilliant daytime tool that can be too bright at midnight. Your task is not to dismantle the tool, but to set it down on a safe workbench until morning. Visualize that bench, place the tool there with respect, cover it with a cloth, and turn back toward the simple machinery of breath, older and wiser than analysis. If spiritual language comforts you, imagine each exhale as a small bow to whatever you trust nature, love. The vast quiet, and each inhale as receiving care from that source. If secular language suits you, imagine each exhale as a message to your biologist, down, and each inhale as the body acknowledging the command. Both are accurate in their way. If you are tempted to search for perfect technique, notice the perfectionism as another fast-running thought and offer it a chair on the porch while the rest of you goes inside to rest. Practice the art of being unfinished tonight. Let the story remain mid-chapter. Let the email remain Let the self remain unpolished. Rest does not require closure, only permission. If the mind circles a fear that something bad will happen if you don't keep thinking, test the opposite gently. For just 1 exhale, release vigilance. For just 1 inhale, feel the bed hold you. Then extend to 2 breaths, then 5. Discover that the world continues without your midnight management. Awareness can keep you company while the manager sleeps. And if, after all this, the mind is still quick, shorten the assignment further. Feel 1 inhale fully. Feel 1 exhale fully. Begin again. And if you lose even that, feel the single moment where the breath turns, the quiet hinge between out and in. Sometimes the smallest doorway is the most reliable. Eventually, the tempo of mind begins to match the tempo of breath, and the images soften, and the edges of you blur kindly into the mattress. Even before sleep, there is a form of peace available, the peace of staying with yourself. Keep returning to it the way a swimmer returns to the surface for air. In time, the water's calm, and you find yourself floating without effort. Thoughts drifting like far-off lights on a shoreline. Emotions rocking in the same rhythm as your chest. And you realize you did not need to stop your mind to rest. You only needed to offer it a safe harbor and a gentle tide. And the harbor is here, and the tide is your breath. Before you drift, invite a gentle warmth into the room of your body. The kind that does not insist on cheerfulness, but makes space for it if it wants to visit. And begin with a simple kindness. Turn toward yourself, because the day may have been heavy, and even if it wasn't, carrying a human life from morning to night is work. Place a hand over your heart if that feels natural, and let the breath move under your palm. Slow and ordinary, and whisper inwardly the simplest phrases that feel true. Tonight may I be safe. May I be kind to myself. May I rest speaking them the way you would speak to a tired friend sitting beside you on the edge of the bed. Do not worry if the words feel wooden at first, or if the heart seems far away. This practice is not a performance, but a warming. Keep letting the breath be the bell that rings the phrases into the body. Inhale and know you are being breathed. Exhale and offer the wish. Picture those words as a soft glow behind the breastbone, a lantern that needs no effort to keep. If resistance appears, some voice that says you do not deserve kindness or that kindness isn't urgent, notice it the way you notice a cloud crossing the moon, and return to the phrases as an act of quiet courage. You are not trying to change history in one night. You are simply tilting the day toward gentleness before sleep. After a minute or two, widen the circle to include someone who is easy to love. Not because difficulty is unwelcome, but because warmth spreads more readily from a small flame. Picture their face without gripping it. Remember a moment of ease with them, and let the same phrases move toward them on your exhale. May you be safe. May you feel held. May you rest like sending a postcard in the night that says, I thought of you with softness. Notice the body's response to this giving, the way the chest may loosen a fraction, the way the jaw unclenches, the way the breath takes a longer path out. Love is not a demand, it is a temperature, and you are letting the air warm slightly around you. Bring to mind next a neutral person, someone you barely know, the barista who printed your name the other way, the neighbor who waters their plants at odd hours, the passerby with the blue scarf, and let the phrases float to them with the same even tone. Often the heart unfurls in the absence of story. Feel how your circle of care grows without thinning the center. If you have the capacity tonight, you can test the edges by bringing in someone with whom there is friction. Not to forgive everything or fix anything right now, but to witness your own willingness to keep the light on. If this feels like too much, return to yourself and the easy one. Loving kindness is dose dependent, and the smallest dose still acts. As you continue, pair each phrase with a breath, allowing the inhale to gather willingness and the exhale to deliver it. And remember that these wishes are not spells to control outcomes, but gestures that align your nervous system with friendliness, which is a doorway to sleep, because the body rests more deeply when it is not guarding against itself. Now let gratitude enter as a companion, not as a command to feel happy, but as a practice of noticing the available good, however small. List 3 things from today that you can thank without reaching, perhaps the warmth of a cup in your hands this morning, the way a stranger held a door, the color of evening for 2 unremarkable seconds, the fact that your body carried you from here to theirs. Speak the thanks softly. Thank you for this glass of water. Thank you for the roof. Thank you for the breath I do not have to manage. And see if the body answers with a small exhale that feels like relief. Gratitude, like loving kindness, is a gentle lever. It does not cancel pain. It shares the table with it, so pain does not eat alone. If the mind argues that you should be grateful for bigger things and you are doing it wrong, decline the debate and choose ordinary details. The nervous system trusts the simple. Turn your gratitude toward the body itself now, part by part, not praising only what feels good, but appreciating the service of each region. Thank the feet for carrying weight, the legs for staircases and streets, the hips for turning, the belly for digesting, the heart for beating on time even when unobserved, the lungs for their quiet fidelity, the hands for all the small labors, the shoulders for bearing, the throat for speaking when needed and closing when rest is kinder, the eyes for their faithful focus, the ears for catching birds and laughter, the skin for its border and its bridge. If any part aches, let the gratitude be tenderness. Thank you for working this hard. You can rest now. Notice how appreciation softens demand. Let the breath continue as the metronome of this litany, each thank you riding out on an exhale like a leaf set adrift. If numbness is what you feel, no warmth, no gratitude, only flatness, include that too. May this numbness be held. Thank you, body, for showing me you are tired. Sincerity matters more than glow. If images help, picture the heart as a small hearth, and each phrase of loving kindness or gratitude as a piece of dry kindling, placed gently until a steady heat emerges, not a blaze, just a warmth that takes the edge off night's chill. Breathe as if bellows are slow and patient. When difficult memories knock, let the hearth be the reference point rather than the memory. Feel the glow touch the edges of the image and blur them, and if tears come, let them. They often carry a quieting chemical that the body recognizes as permission to soften. You might weave a simple sequence that many have used for centuries. Self, benefactor, neutral, difficult, all beings. But tonight, allow the sequence to be loose. If you want to loop back to yourself again and again, do that. If all beings feels too large, try all those who can see the same moon, or all those who are awake right now wishing for sleep. Broad wishes can paradoxically lighten the personal load because they remind you you are not alone. Say inwardly, may all who are awake in this hour know ease. May all who are restless find a kind breath. May all who are grieving be held. May all who feel alone feel accompanied. Notice any ripple of connection this produces, even if it is delicate. Connection relaxes vigilance. You can also pair gratitude with breath in a counted way if the mind stays busy. Inhale to 4, thinking, receiving. Exhale to 6, thinking, thank you. Do it 10 cycles and then stop counting and float. If sleep pulls you mid-practice, let it. This is not a ceremony you must complete. It is seasoning for the night. Should you wake later, you can pick up where you left off with a single phrase, may I be gentle now, and a single thank you, breath, and then drift again. If skepticism visits, acknowledge its protective aim and let it stand at the doorway while you keep warming the room. Loving kindness and gratitude are not beliefs, they are behaviors. The body responds to them predictably. Breath deepens, muscle tone lowers, heart variability widens. But you do not need those words. What you need is the felt sense that the edges of you are less armored. Notice your face softening as if the skin had been holding a story and can set it down. Notice your hands becoming heavier in an agreeable way. Notice the belly releasing its vigilance. If you want a tangible anchor, place the fingertips of one hand lightly on the center of the sternum and tap there softly to the pace of your exhale while repeating a single phrase, safe, or warm, or here. Let the rhythm nudge your system toward a parasympathetic sway. If you remember someone who once wished you well, let their blessing arrive again and sit beside you. You are allowed to be accompanied by the memory of kindness. If loneliness arises, send loving kindness to the lonely part, as if it were a small animal seeking a lap. May you feel included. May you know belonging. May you rest. You are not erasing loneliness, you are ending its isolation. Now, broaden gratitude from the personal to the ordinary world. Thank the quiet night for its patience, the unseen workers who kept water in pipes and electricity in lines, the plants outside converting light long after you stopped noticing, the ancient companionship of stars even when clouds hide them. This is not grandiosity, it is perspective that right-sizes the mind and lets the body exhale. finish with a return to yourself. Because you are the place all these wishes pass through. May I be safe, may I soften, may I sleep. Feel the breath, lay those words down like blankets. If no sleep comes yet, you are still bathing in a chemistry of kindness and appreciation that makes sleep more likely. And if sleep arrives mid-sentence, trust that the wishes keep working under the surface like tide beneath ice. You do not have to do more. You have made a small, warm house inside the night, and there is a bed in it with your name. Lie down in that inner bed and let the quiet gather around you. Let the glow fall to embers, let even the phrases fade until only breath remains. A friendly tide carrying you past the shoreline of waking into the soft, generous dark. Attention wanders because it is alive. Your task is not to freeze it, but to teach it a gentle homing instinct. And the simplest home at night is the point where breath touches body. So, decide now what your anchor will be and keep it humble, the cool brush of air at the rims of the nostrils. The faint warmth as it leaves, the soft rise and fall under your palm at the belly, the widening and narrowing of the ribs against the bedsheet, or even the whisper of fabric moving with your chest. Choose one and let the others be supporting actors. Begin by feeling 5 ordinary breaths at this point of contact, as if you were greeting a friend at the door. No analysis. No improvement plan, only presence, and notice how quickly thought arrives with a story or a question or a plan. That arrival is not failure, it is the signal to return, and returning is the muscle you are building. You can make the return smoother by giving it a tiny ritual. A single word you whisper in the mind each time you notice you have drifted back, or hear or touch. So the mind learns that noticing is followed by kindness and contact, not by scolding. Let the anchor be specific. If you choose the nostrils, feel exactly where the air grazes. Perhaps a small triangle just inside the tip of the nose, and track the change of temperature and texture as you breathe. If you choose the belly, rest your hand there and sense the amplitude of each rise and fall, however small. If you choose the ribs, notice the sideways expansion like a book gently opening and closing. When attention slides away, and it will tag what lured it with a light label like thinking, or remembering, or planning. Then escort it back to the anchor as if you were guiding a child across a quiet street, unhurried and calm. Do this 100 times if needed, because the repetition rewires expectations. The mind learns that night is for soft contact more than for problem solving. If the anchor becomes dull, do not abandon it immediately. Instead, refine it. At the nostrils, feel the exact moment the inhale turns to exhale. That quick hinge that lasts less than a blink. At the belly, distinguish the first hint of lift from the fuller swell, the last sigh of release from the quiet pause. At the ribs, listen for the subtle spiral as breath slides along the back body into the mattress. When the anchor feels too subtle to perceive, widen the spotlight for a few breaths to include the whole field of sensation, the weight of the head, the warmth under the covers, the quiet of the room, then gently narrow again to the anchor. This movement of zooming out and in refreshes attention without abandoning the practice. Some nights mind feels sticky and the anchor slippery. In that case, make the anchor slightly louder without strain. Purse the lips very lightly on the exhale to feel a soft stream of air, or hum quietly so your lips and cheekbones vibrate. Or press the palm a little firmer to the belly for 3 breaths and then lighten. These are temporary training wheels. Remove them once contact is obvious again. When images pull you into a daydream, Use the anchor as a doorway back by synchronizing a small count to a tin inside the nostrils in 4-4. Out for 6, belly rise for 4, fall for 6, only for 10 cycles. Then drop, counting, and let the raw sensation hold you. If the mind argues that this is boring, thank it for protecting you from monotony and prove that nothing is truly boring under a curious gaze. At the nostrils, feel the swirling microcurrents at the start of each inhale, the way the skin cools by a degree, the slight asymmetry between left and right. At the belly, feel how the hand's warmth seeps inward, how the exhale is not a single descent but a gentle staircase. At the ribs, notice how the back ribs, often ignored, widen into the bed with surprising generosity. Treat attention like a lens. You can focus down to the smallest texture or pull back to the overall wave. When heavy emotion erupts and the anchor feels like a matchstick in a storm, move the anchor to the place in the body where the emotion speaks loudest. Chest, gut, and let breath meet that place with tenderness. The anchor is not a denial of feeling, but a way to hold it without drowning. Breathe there until the volume lowers, then return to the original anchor if you like. If you cannot locate breath anywhere because the mind is loud, anchor in the simplest tactile point you can find, the contact of heel with mattress, the coolness of the sheet at the wrist, the weight of the skull in the pillow. Breathe and feel that exact contact on each exhale for a dozen breaths. Sensation is the present's handwriting. Read it slowly and you are already back. Make friends with micro-returns. Instead of waiting for a long stretch of focus, celebrate each small coming back, the moment you notice you wandered and the half second it takes to feel the anchor again. This moment is the heart of practice, and the body softens each time it happens because you have replaced criticism with reliability. You can formalize the return with the 3 R's. Recognize wandering, release the thought with a small exhale, reroute in the anchor by feeling one full breath there. Run this tiny loop again and again until it becomes automatic. If restlessness sends tiny jolts through the limbs, couple the anchor with a 5% relaxation on the inhale. Feel the contact point. On the exhale, let one small region release by 5%. The brow, the shoulders, the fingers, the belly. Gentle release pairs with anchor to double the message of safety. On nights when the anchor at the nose makes you feel more alert, shift to the belly where movement is slower and broader. On nights when the belly stirs anxiety because it feels too vulnerable, choose the nostrils or the back ribs where sensation is subtler. Adapting the anchor is not failure. It is intelligent kindness. If you wake in the dark and thoughts rush in, place your hand on the anchor point before the story gains speed. Feel 3 clear breaths before you allow any other task. Often the story loses its urgency when you return to touch quickly. When sleep draws near and attention becomes hazy, let the anchor become even simpler. Feel just the beginning of each exhale at the nostrils, or just the first downward tilt of the belly. Then let the rest of the breath happen in the background. It is like holding a railing for the first step down and then gliding. If you lose contact altogether and realize you have been thinking for several minutes, smile internally. That recognition is a return. Find the anchor again by asking a single sensory question. What is the very first thing I can feel at the nose right now? What is the very first hint of movement under my hand? Answer it with experience rather than words. 4 persistent loops. Pair the anchor with a phrase that escorts attention home. Inhale, feeling the nostrils and think, here. Exhale, feeling the nostrils and think, now. Reduce language until only sensation remains. Remember that the anchor does not need to be intense to be convincing. trust the smallness. Trust that the nervous system prefers a gentle, repeated cue over a grand event. If boredom creeps in, widen the field to include sound without engaging its meaning. The far-off hum of a refrigerator, a car sighing past, wind moving a leaf, then fold sound back into the anchor by noticing the exhale is the quietest sound of all. This places the breath within a nest of listening and keeps attention fresh. Let posture support the anchor. Release the tongue so the throat is open. Slide the shoulders down, soften the belly. The clearer the pathway, the clearer the contact. If you share a bed and movement is limited, make the anchor microscopic so it does not need movement at all. A single point at the base of the nose can hold a whole night. Treat the practice as you would hold a sleeping child, steady, unintrusive, responsive when needed. When anxiety asks how long this will take, answer with one breath at the anchor. When perfectionism asks if you are doing it right, answer with one breath at the anchor. When impatience asks for novelty, answer with one breath at the anchor. This is not avoidance, but alignment. Every return repeats the core message: you are safe here. The brain reshapes itself by what you repeat. Finally, let the anchor escort you to the threshold of sleep by becoming softer and softer, so that you feel it for the first 2 seconds of each breath and then drift. And if you find yourself awake again later, pick up the same thread without drama. Like finding your place in a book by recognizing the shape of a paragraph. The practice does not demand progress charts. It asks only for friendliness and repetition. Each time you return to the point of contact, you strengthen the bridge between attention and rest, until crossing it becomes second nature and the night knows you as someone who can leave and come back. Leave and come back, until at last you do not need to leave at all, but simply rest in the quiet sensation of breathing. A steady lighthouse at the edge of sleep guiding you toward a shore you can trust. Think of the next 14 nights as a tender apprenticeship in resting, not a boot camp or a countdown. And let each evening be a small conversation with your nervous system in which you practice saying we are safe. We can soften, we can let the day end. Begin with night 1 by simply noticing where you are without changing anything. Dim the lights a little earlier, set your phone aside. Clear a small square of nightstand for a glass of water and a notebook, and lie down to feel 10 natural breaths without counting. Just the cool at the nostrils and the warm leaving hands wherever they feel friendly. On night 2, add the soft body scan you learned, toes to crown with a whisper of attention, and end with 5 longer exhales, not measured yet. Only stretched like pouring tea slowly, and if sleep comes mid-scan, let it. On night 3, choose your anchor, the belly under a palm, the nostrils cool brush, the ribs widening, and practice returning to it each time you notice drifting. Tag a thought with a gentle planning or remembering and come back. Celebrate each return as the actual work being done. On night 4, prepare the room with deliberateness. Lower a lamp, place a drop of a simple scent if you like. Take a warm shower to cue your skin that the day is done. Set tomorrow's alarm and then, with care, set the phone face down out of reach. Write 3 loose ends in the notebook, close it, and let your first 10 breaths be a bridge rather than a performance. On night 5, begin playing with ratio. In for 4 and out for 6, if that feels kind, otherwise 3 and 5. And keep the attitude that any hint of strain is a signal to shorten. End with the phrase, safe on each exhale for 5 breaths, letting the word dissolve into feeling. On night 6, invite loving kindness and gratitude. 3 phrases for yourself: may I be safe, may I be kind to myself, may I rest, and 3 simple thanks pulled from the day. No grandeur required. The warmth is the medicine, not the list. On night 7, anticipate the midweek tide of thoughts and create a container before you lie down. Write for 2 minutes, whatever wants morning attention. Draw a small box on the page and imagine placing the topics inside it with a lid. Then return to bed and rest a hand on your belly for 10 waves of breath. On night 8, adjust posture with curiosity. Try a pillow under your knees, if on your back, or between your thighs, if on your side. Loosen the jaw by a grain. Feel how these small structural mercies change the texture of the breath. And repeat your ratio gently for 10 cycles before letting counting go. On night 9, practice meeting emotion as sensation. Ask where it lives, how wide it is. Breathe into that region with a kind exhale. And keep the anchor nearby like a friend sitting close, not talking, just present. On night 10, make an earlier rendezvous with sleep by starting the wind down 20 minutes sooner than usual, and use that time to darken the room. Soften sound, sip warm, non-caffeinated tea, and read a few pages that do not agitate. Then lie down and let 10 breaths arrive without management before you gently lengthen the out-breath again. On night 11, add a mini sequence for waking in the night. If you stir, place a hand on the belly, 3 natural breaths, 3 longer exhales. Choose 1 word here and let it ride the next 3 exhale waves, then release the plan and float. On night 12, invite the playful precision of my. Find the hinge where inhale becomes exhale at the nostrils or the first hint of belly descent. Feel that hinge for 5 breaths and allow the rest of each breath to happen in the background, like holding a railing for the first step. On night 13, acknowledge progress in the quietest way, not by rating sleep, but by noticing behaviors that now feel more natural. Dimming early, placing the phone away, returning to the anchor with less drama, letting the exhale lengthen itself, and write a single sentence of appreciation in the notebook. Thank you to this body for trying. Then lay yourself down and let the breath be ordinary again. And on night 14, craft a ritual you can keep beyond the 2 weeks. Something small and repeatable, a phrase you whisper when switching off the lamp, a fingertip tap at the sternum to the pace of the exhale, a 2-line gratitude, a single hand to belly breath, and treat it as your doorway. Across all 14 nights, keep expectations soft and curiosity alive, because change often happens sideways, and sleep is a shy animal that comes closer when not hunted. If a night goes poorly, do not restart the calendar, simply continue the next evening, trusting that nervous systems learn from steady signals more than from perfect results. As you move through the plan, refine the architecture of your evening. Choose a consistent time to dim the lights, perhaps an hour before bed, and anchor it with a small action like turning on the bedside lamp and turning off overhead bulbs, letting shadows return to corners, and give your eyes a break from screens by switching to paper or soft listening, so melatonin can rise like night tide. Simplify decisions, late set out morning clothes, put a glass by the sink, tidy a square foot of space, because each resolved detail releases attention into rest. If stimulants or late meals push against sleep, nudge them earlier by half an hour without drama, enough to test whether the night softens. If you share space, speak the ritual aloud. I'm winding down now, so the house leans toward quiet with you. On nights of heavy weather, inside worry, grief, anger, practice the 3-step loop. Notice, name, nurture. Notice the storm. Name it briefly. Nurture the body with 1 long exhale and a hand on the belly. If perfectionism comments on your technique, treat it as weather too, and return to the anchor. Use the 5% rule. When tension hides, softly tighten a region on the inhale by a small amount, and release completely on the exhale. Hands, shoulders, brow, belly. Invite natural sighs and yawns and hums to join you. Old mammal signals that guards can rest. Remember that attention will wander 100 times, and each return is the practice building a path under your feet. If boredom comes, refine the anchor's texture. Feel the swirl of air in the nose, the warm spill of exhale across the upper lip, the tiny sideways opening of back ribs into the mattress, the hand's warmth seeping into the belly like tea into a cup. When sleepiness nears, simplify further. Feel only the beginning of each exhale, then let it carry you, or drop language entirely and rest in the sensation of weight and warmth, two allies of sleep. If you wake before dawn with a mind bright as noon, sit up for 2 minutes at the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, hands on thighs. Breathe 3 longer exhales, whisper later to the plans, and lie back down with the belly hand in place. Think of your progress by chemistry, not by score. You have been shifting the mix, less light, less noise, fewer late problems, steadier breath, kinder inner speech, and bodies listen to mixtures over time. If travel or disruption interrupts the sequence, carry only the smallest ritual with you. Perhaps the phrase, "May I be gentle on the first night in a new bed," and rebuild the rest when you return. If you like data, keep a simple log without judgment. Start time of wind down. One word about the day's tone, which anchor you used, whether you woke and how you returned. Read it only after a week to notice patterns and then set it aside. Trust, too, the human fact that many nights end in sleep without your help, and that your work is to make that help unnecessary by building familiarity with conditions that whisper, yes. After 14 nights, choose what to keep as a forever ritual. Maybe the lamp and the hand on the belly and the small gratitude. Maybe the in for 4, out for 6 ratio only when needed. Maybe the image of a tide polishing the shore of the day, and let the rest be optional. You are not graduating to a stricter plan. You are settling into a relationship with your evenings that feels humane. The metric is not perfect sleep, but kinder nights and gentler mornings. Notice whether you rise with a bit more ease, whether your jaw argues less, whether worry respects the box on the shelf. If results feel slow, remember that you are teaching a vigilant system, the language of safety, and languages become fluent by daily listening. Keep the spirit of these 2 weeks, even if you miss a night. Begin again, small and friendly. The doorway is always the same. A breath in, a breath out, a quiet lantern on the nightstand, and your willingness to return. Over time, the practice stops feeling like practice and starts feeling like the way you live your evenings. Dim, soften, breathe, allow, and when sleep arrives, you will meet it not as a prize, but as a guest you prepared a bed for, with fresh sheets of attention and a blanket of kindness. And even on nights it arrives late, you will have already rested, because rest is not only the absence of waking, but the presence of warmth and trust in your own body. And that is what these 14 nights are quietly building, thread by thread, breath by breath. When you wake in the middle of the night, treat the moment like stepping into a quiet chapel rather than a troubleshooting session, and let a simple 3-minute ritual carry you back to the shoreline of sleep. Begin with minute 1 by doing nothing grand. Simply pause and keep your eyes soft or closed. Avoid looking at the clock, because numbers recruit the planning mind, and resist the glow of the phone, because light is a loud signal. Feel the body where it touches the bed, head heavy in the pillow, shoulders cradled, hips supported, heels at rest, and let your jaw unhook by a grain so the tongue widens and rests like a friendly animal. If a spike of alarm is present, acknowledge it the way you'd greet a startled bird, with space and quiet, and place one hand on the belly or over the heart, whichever feels safer tonight. Take one slow, generous exhale through the nose or gently parted lips as if you were fogging a cool window. Then let the next inhale arrive on its own, without tugging. For minute 2, use a tiny sequence that tells the nervous system it is safe to downshift. Breathe in softly for 4, and out slowly for 6, or choose 3 and 5 if that is kinder, and pair the exhale with a word that reduces urgency, here, or safe, or home, letting the word ride out on the breath like a small boat. If thoughts push in, give them a light label, planning, remembering, rehearsing, and place them on the far edge of the 6 count, so they drift just out of reach by the time the next inhale comes by itself. If emotion flares, meet it as sensation first and story second. Where in the body is it loudest? How wide is it? Is it cool or warm? Breathe directly to that region with a longer exhale, as if widening a tight doorway. If there is a restless charge in the chest, try a physiological sigh. Once inhale gently, add a small top-up sip, then exhale long and easy, and return to normal quiet breathing, because 1 or 2 sighs can discharge trapped air and reduce internal pressure without turning into a technique chase. If the nose is stuffy, soften the lips and let breath slip along the palate with the tongue resting wide. If the belly feels guarded, keep your palm there and imagine breathing underneath your hand the way tide flows under a pier. For minute 3, narrow attention to a cozy anchor and then gradually let it blur. Feel the exact coolness at the rims of the nostrils for 3 breaths. Then the small hinge where inhale becomes exhale for 3. Then only the first second of each exhale, while the rest of the breath happens in the background, like holding a railing for the first step and gliding down the rest. If the mind accelerates again, create a soft boundary with time. For the next 3 breaths, I will only feel contact and breath. And after those 3 breaths, most storms have thinned. If not, repeat the boundary once, kindly. Keep the rule of 5%. On the inhale, invite a region to soften by just a little: the brow, the shoulders, the hands, and on the exhale, release completely, because microscopic releases add up to a body-wide permission slip. If pain or pins and needles are what woke you, adjust posture like turning a page rather than starting a project. Add a pillow under the knees or between the thighs. Slide a shoulder forward, smooth the sheet, then return the hand to the belly and take 2 longer exhales, reminding the body it does not need to brace against its own bed. If a dream lingered and left a story buzzing, let the buzz dissolve into texture by describing 3 bare sensations in order: warmth under the palm, weight at the heels, air at the nose. Then breathe out a fraction longer and watch the images lose color. If your partner's movement or a night noise stirred you, widen attention for a breath or 2 to include the room as a safe container. The faint hum of the fridge, a car sighing past, the house doing its night work. Then fold the sound back into the breath by noticing the exhale is the quietest sound of all. If you worry that you will not get back to sleep and tomorrow will be ruined, remember, you are practicing rest even before sleep returns. And the body benefits from this chemistry: lower muscle tone, deeper exhale, kinder inner speech. So you are not failing, you are restoring. If the clock insists on being checked, make an agreement in the light of day to set a single window, no clock between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., for example, and honor it now. If a to-do item insists, give it a shelf. Visualize a small box on a ledge outside the bedroom, put the item in, close the lid, and promise to meet it with coffee in the morning. Gestures matter to the nervous system. If heat builds behind the eyes or in the chest, exhale through a barely pursed mouth once or twice, like cooling tea, and then let the lips rest. If the room's air feels stale, inhale with the sense that fresh air is arriving even if the window is shut, and exhale as though the bed itself were absorbing your weight. When drowsiness returns, simplify further. Feel only the first downward tilt of the belly on each exhale, and then stop paying attention at all, letting sensation fade like a shoreline falling behind a boat. If wakefulness persists after 2 or 3 rounds of the 3-minute ritual, sit up at the edge of the bed for a minute. Feet on the floor, hands on thighs. Tilt the head slightly forward to lengthen the back of the neck. Breathe 1 longer exhale, then lie down again and begin at minute 1. If the mind is bright as noon, keep lights low and try a half-awake nest without leaving the room. Prop a pillow behind your back, curl loosely on your side, and give yourself permission to rest without sleeping while you repeat the simplest loop: notice, name, nurture for 5 breaths. Often the brightness dims when you stop wrestling. If hunger or thirst woke you, sip a small drink in the dark without engaging the kitchen's light or the phone's glow. Then return and let your hand find the belly again. If you share the bed, synchronize 3 breaths with your partner's rhythm without pressing for perfect timing. The sense of being accompanied calms the guard inside. If night fears arrive, picture your bed as a low raft on a safe lake under watchful stars, and pair each exhale with the word safe, not to convince yourself of a concept, but to embody a pace. Sleep is more pace than argument. If you have a favorite gratitude, whisper it once: thank you. Breath, and let the echo be the only echo. The goal is not eloquence, it is signaling. If after a while your body suggests getting up, do it gently. No bright lights, no emails, no scrolling. Sit in a chair by a window or on the floor with your back to the bed. Breathe 3 longer exhales. Keep company with the darkness for 5 minutes. Then return to the mattress and start minute 1 again. Know that even this loop can be soothing, because predictability is medicine. And if finally sleep does not come, keep the practice small and friendly, so you still arrive in morning more restored than if you had argued all night. The 3 minutes are enough. Pause and place a hand. Lengthen the exhale with a soft word. Narrow to a tiny anchor and then let it blur. You are not forcing doors. You are turning down lamps. What needs to sleep will sleep, and what needs to rest can rest now. Each time you wake and meet the night with this quiet sequence, you reinforce a path that leads back, not by willpower, but by recognition. And recognition is what the body trusts, this touch, this breath, this kindness, until the tide of night lifts you again and carries you into the soft, anonymous dark. You have walked with your breath through dusk into night, learning to prepare the room and the body, to choose a posture that invites softness, to rest a hand on the belly and let attention ride the quiet wave, to count not as a test but as a lullaby, to meet thoughts and feelings with a small bow and a longer exhale, to warm the heart with kindness and gratitude, to return again and again to a simple anchor, to plant a steady rhythm across 14 ordinary evenings, and to greet those wakeful hours with a 3-minute ritual that turns down the lamps inside. All along, nothing mystical was required beyond sincerity and repetition, because the nervous system understands these languages. Dimmer light, fewer demands, slower out breaths, friendlier words, a posture that says, you are safe now. If tonight brings swift sleep, receive it without triumph. If tonight is slower, know you are still practicing rest and building trust, and trust is the bed where sleep most easily lies down. Let this be less a program to complete than a way of tending to your life at day's edge. Dim a little earlier, tidy one small square, place the phone away, touch the breath, offer 2 lines of gratitude, lengthen the exhale by a heartbeat, forgive yourself for being human. Over time, the path remembers you, and the body answers your ritual like a familiar melody. If this journey has helped, I invite you to keep traveling with us. Subscribe to Buddhism for Sleep, so each evening you'll have a quiet companion, guided practices, gentle talks, and soft reminders that you do not have to earn rest to deserve it. Leave a comment with the line that comforted you most, or the part you wish to revisit on hard nights. Your words may become someone else's lantern. Share this episode with a friend who lies awake watching the ceiling. Sometimes, 2 breaths taken together are the beginning of a new habit. And when the day returns tomorrow, carry one thread with you, perhaps the hand-to-belly pause, or the phrase, "May I be gentle," and let it stitch small islands of ease into your hours. For now, set down the project of improvement. Let the bed hold you, let the dark be kind, let your breath keep watch like a patient tide. You have done enough, you are enough. When you are ready, close your eyes. We'll be here again tomorrow night.